Positive feedback mechanisms do not maintain homeostasis. Therefore, they are rare. And there's two examples that your textbook usually talks about. One is blood clotting, which is actually very, very interesting, but kind of a complex process of chemical changes between clotting proteins or clotting factors in your blood when you are injured. The other one that is a little bit more simple to describe is labor. And so when a female is giving birth, there is no homeostasis achieved, but rather it progresses. So it starts out really calm, and then the contractions progress until the baby is born. So it is an example of a positive feedback mechanism. So let's look at the stimulus. So in this case, it could be the fetal head, and there's other ways to describe this, but this is how I'm going to describe it. The fetal head pressing on the cervix. So it presses on the cervix. This sends a signal to a receptor, it's detected. And then the control center is actually your pituitary gland, the female's pituitary gland that is in labor. And this pituitary gland produces or releases a hormone called oxytocin. And oxytocin is important in your body all the time, but in terms of labor, it is what allows for an escalation of contractions. You might have heard of the synthetic name for oxytocin that is sometimes given to females in order to speed up the labor process, and that is what is referred to as Pitocin. So it actually increases the frequency and strength of the contractions for a female that might otherwise be in labor for a longer period of time. So oxytocin is then goes to the effector, which is the uterus. So the effector is the uterus. And this actually causes an increase in the strength of contractions. And so how does that affect the initial stimulus? It increases the stimulus. So as the uterus contracts, the fetal head pushes harder on the cervix. And so this increases the stimulus, where this is the initial stimulus. Okay, so that is why this is a positive feedback. It's not something that maintains homeostasis like negative feedback mechanisms. It's very rare, and it increases the initial stimulus rather than bringing it down into an equilibrium. So that is an example of a positive feedback mechanism.